And we can start the meeting. So welcome everyone. So for today, we have some Keptn enhancement proposal that I would like to discuss with the community, or at least bring some highlights to them, because we would like to gain some feedback from the community. In particular, the context propagation for GitOps. This is a very nice idea from Thomas to propagate the trace context across different places. So if you have a multi-stage deployment, you can track everything together. So you can see a trace that showcases what's happening in your dev stage for your deployment. Then when it's promoted to hardening, you can have another trace, and you can link this hardening trace to the previous dev stage trace. So you have the full end-to-end observability of your deployment. Please read through it and provide your comments and feedback for this. Same things for this one, where we would like to add an instance definition into the lifecycle toolkit. I don't want to go into the details of this. Please read this offline. And generally speaking, the idea is that you have instances, for instance, a dev instance, and then you can specify the successor, where from this instance you will go into. For instance, you can have one dev that is then, if everything is fine, promoted automatically to the staging phase. And from staging, you can have one or two productions. Maybe you have one in European data center, another one in America. And so also please go over it and provide your feedback. Otherwise, I add also something to this document on the top. There is a link towards the refinement, ready for refine tickets. That links to this nice page where across all the different repositories, we can keep track about what are the tickets, the issues that needs some refinement on our side. In particular, for today, we have 3 different tickets. Let's start from the oldest one. Put Sonar Cloud settings into a config file. This was created by you, Moritz.
Oh yes, I don't even remember. November 18th, wow. Yeah, we're still using Sonar Cloud, although I don't know how much or how frequently. For now, we have some config set up in the GUI, but you can provide Sonar Cloud with a config file, especially for ignores and stuff like that. Would be good to put that into a file instead of having it configured in the GUI. Or if we actually say Sonar is not super needed, we remove it completely. I don't know.
I do tend to watch from now and then Sonar Cloud just because of the metrics, complexity metrics they provide. So I have a bit of a rough understanding. Okay, we might want to refactor this piece of code or not, but there is a lot of noise, specifically for code duplication. And these deep copy generated files are always 100% of code duplication.
Yeah.
So it would be good to exclude them, yeah. Opinion from the rest of the team. Do you want to still use Sonar, or we don't care?
Maybe a related question. Do we also have a similar ticket for code cough? Because I think, for example, also those deep copy generated files are currently also taken into consideration for the coverage, for example.
We do have a config file for code cover already, but for that we don't have any settings yet. No.
We don't exclude those generated files. Yep. Should we create a separate ticket, or should we extend this ticket to cover both?
I would extend this one.
Yeah. And Let's remove the auto-generated files from in Trackit. Since Sonar Cloud is configured in the UI, I like to have it in a file. Is this clear enough to everyone? I don't see anyone complaining, so do we have automation? No. Okay, then let's put an estimation. And Meg, if you cannot put an estimation, just put a question mark.
Okay. I'll stay out of it. I think it's a good idea, but I don't know about the implementation.
Okay, I see that we have a kind of an agreement between a smaller story, 0.5 versus 1. So let's start from the most experienced guy in the room, Moritz. Why do you think it's alpha story point?
We're estimating complexity, and moving config from UI to somewhere else is not very complex at all.
For me, the complexity is reading the documentation and be able to translate whatever we see in the UI into a
Oh, the
setting.
UI actually, so if you go through the UI settings, it actually already has the right config keys. So you just need to copy the config key equals the setting, and that's it basically.
Okay, then okay.
Yeah.
I thought you need to, cross check everything with the documentation. That's why I was
No.
one. I would also then move to alpha story point.
Can I
Andre?
set it?
Yeah, Mike, please.
Oh, can I set it to in the file and have that reflected in the UI? Will it go both ways?
I don't actually know. I would assume that the config file always overrides whatever is set in the UI.
So it wouldn't be displayed in the UI.
No, I don't think so. But I mean, that would be weird anyways, because then you couldn't change it in the UI anyways, because you have the config file. So it actually makes sense to only have it in the config file, I would say. But I don't know how the connection is between config and UI.
But I wouldn't like the fact if the UI displays, will the UI say this is not working because we're using a file? Or can somebody,
I don't know.
yeah,
That's something to check out, but
that bothers me that in a large site that somebody could set this up to use the config file and somebody else who's a UI sort of person goes in and looks at the UI and sees values or tries to change them and it has no effect. That strikes me as something that's going to bother the users.
One thing though is no user has permission to the UI.
yeah.
I think you need to have a admin permission to the repo in order to change something in the UI.
Yes, at least you should be a member.
Yeah, so the file would be the one that defines or makes more visible to anyone what are our current set options. But Andre and Thomas, do you have strong opinions for half story point versus 1? I see nodding towards the no. Okie dokie. Then this one from Anna. Very good descriptive ticket. Does someone have more information about this file? Anna, unfortunately, is not in this call, so we can skip it. Maybe if so.
Let's refine it more and
Yeah,
talk about it next week.
And instead we have this one that Anna also added ready for refinement 5 days ago.
I'm actually working on this since today, and it's half done, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why she added the ready for refinement. Okay, then you already are on this, so okie dokie. Let me keep track of this, otherwise we'll forget what we have discussed today. Any other topics from the community, maybe? Any PR or anything else that you would like to bring some eyes on? Okay, looks like no.
Hi.
Hi, Sudipo.
I have been working on an issue that I need help. So
Yes.
if you have time, please look at this PR. I just sent it in the Zoom chat.
Yes, so I had a look at this PR. Being still in draft, I didn't want to provide a review.
Yeah.
But I also don't know much about the Datadog APIs per se. I asked Suraj, which is the one that created the Datadog integration for Keptn V1, to have a look at this PR and provide you with some help. So maybe you can also reach out to him in Slack.
Yeah, today I looked into his code from the original Keptn sandbox.
Yeah, exactly.
And I found some leads, and I am trying to experiment with that. So eventually, I think I will knock him regarding this.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not an expert on the Datadog APIs and payload.
Okay. So I will consult with him, no problem.
Yeah, and as soon as it's ready for review, then I'm more than happy to provide some feedback on the code.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks to you. Anything else? If not, I think we are very efficient and we can gain a lot of time back to our life. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day and see you tomorrow on the community meeting, the US EMA friendly one. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.